Hello everyone and welcome back to the Dairy Experience podcast. My name is Jack. I'm the marketing specialist for Lely, Australia and New Zealand, and the host of today's episode where we'll be discussing robotic milking in grazing-based systems. Today I'm joined by Dr. Innocent Rugoho, co-author of recent research which was done in collaboration with the University of Melbourne, and two experienced dairy farmers, Garry Carpenter and John Van Adrichem. Welcome, guys. Let's go around and give the listeners, some intel on you guys. Do you want to start? Say a bit about yourself, Garry.
Thanks, Jack, and welcome down to Tassie.
Yeah,
I'm going to say we're in Tassie, which where this goes
two
round.
Tasmanian.
Two Tasmanians.
Farmers, yeah.
We won't go on with the jokes, Jack, will we? We won't. So I'm been dairying now a bit over 30 odd years, and started with 28 cows a long time ago, and built up to nearly 1,000 over 3 operations.
How long ago did you start?
A bit over 30 years ago. So at one stage we had conventional herringbone, 26 double up, and then went into started another farm with 3 robots in, and John helped us start that, so that might have been 9 or 10 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yep, so John helped us through that one, and then started another one later on with 4 robots, and then had some health issues down the track here a couple of 3 years ago, where we've sold the main farm now, and we're back to putting 7 robots in one shed, running through about 350 cows. So John was my mentor back when I started. So
yeah, wow.
And it only seems like yesterday, Jack, but it is a while ago, John, isn't it?
Yeah. How long ago was that again?
I reckon it's nearly 10 years, John, is it? It does seem like yesterday because everything works so damn well.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Yeah, that's cool. And yourself, John?
Well, I'm originally from Holland. I started with 25 cows in a tie-down barn, but Holland was getting too small for me, so we went to Australia, to Tasmania, and started in a 12 swing over, and then we had a rotary for a couple of years, and all the kids, they just left, and we said, we'll slow down a bit, but farming is in your blood, you can't go without. So we said, we'll make it easy, we'll get 2 robots. And the funny thing was, we just rang Lely on the mainland and said, I want to buy 2 robots. And they said, where are you situated? I said, well, in Tasmania. And they said, no, we can't sell them to you. I said, why is that?
Yeah.
Well, there is no dealer there.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, well, I never heard something like that, someone doesn't want to sell anything if they're in that business. So in the end, I went to Craig Stokes, and he was my dairy technician on the rotary, and he said, listen, I got a bit of a problem, I'd like to start with robots, but they need a dealer. Are you interested to become a dealer? He said, what does that mean? He said, well, here is a number, just ring them. I said, I'll stay out of that. You have to deal that with these guys from Lely. So he just went there, and they just got an arrangement that he was going to be a dealer. But he said, if I'm the dealer and we only got 2 robots here, you can't expect me to sit home the whole day and waiting that maybe something goes wrong, and I'll have to fix it. Yeah. So in the end he said, what if we both do our technical course? So I went with Craig to Rochester, and we both done the installation course. Yeah. And a lot of things I could fix myself, and that's how I actually started with 2 robots. But then with 2 robots you think, this is easy. We'll put a third one in.
Yeah, nice.
So we put the third one in.
A5s or?
No, A3.
Yeah, right.
And my son, he was not really into milking, like starting 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. But then he had the 3 robots. He said, listen, I can deal with
I like farming now.
So, well, he just came up as a 10% share, and then later he just went up like that, because I said, well, I want to be sure that you're actually happy doing this, and then we could buy some land behind, and we had the forest practice plan, just clear it, and so we done that, but we put a 4th robot in, but then the site was getting too small. We said, what are we going to do now, we just bought another 300 acres, so we moved the shed, and we started like on a new location. And that went really well. You know, it take a couple of years to get the ground ready so you can just get the grass off it and things like that. And my son went over to 50%, and 2 years ago he actually took over. So I'm the worker now and he's the boss.
You can tell him what to do now, John, can't you?
But I mean, he changed over to the new A5s.
Yeah.
So we put 8 A5s in and milking around about 500 cows at the moment on with ABC grazing.
Yeah.
That's my story in short.
Yeah. And it's funny, Jack, my wife just walked in, Bevan. She's not going to sit here and have a talk to us, but I'm just thinking back to when we started.
Yeah.
And I was looking at these other farms, and there was 10 minutes from our original farm, and I said, we're going to go down there and set these farms up.
Yeah.
And I said, I'll put another herringbone in. She said, if you put a bloody herringbone in, you're not going to get the farm. So as simple as that. It was either robots or nothing. And it was. So that's... it would be 10 years ago, and it's funny. There was only 2 existing AMS, or 2 or 3, working in Tassie at that time, I think. I think I was the third.
Yeah, I was just going to
John
ask.
was the first.
So you were the first.
I think about a year or year and a half later, John Healy in
Pyangana
wanted to start as well.
Yeah.
And Craig rang me and he said, you're the only certified technician here. He said, can you give me a hand setting that one up?
Yeah.
And that's how it actually started.
Yeah, actually,
I still do.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Innocent told me
startup
you
jobs
do help out with startups quite a bit. Yeah, that's good as. Yeah. But with, actually, we'll go on to you, Innocent. So, you're the co-author of the research. Did you want to give a brief summary about yourself first, and then, some of the findings you've done?
All right. Thank you, Jack. I call you Captain Jack Sparrow. Yeah.
Where's your eye patch?
Yeah. I'm honored to introduce myself as Innocent Rugoho, and I'm the FMS Advisor for Lely Oceania. Our team consists of 4 dedicated individuals, and 2 of whom are based in New Zealand. And in my capacity, I provide comprehensive support to robotic dairy farmers throughout their journey, starting from the pre-transition phase all the way to post-implementation stage.
Yeah, nice. And how about that research?
It is important to point out that this study, while commercially funded, holds significant relevance for the broader industry. And at this stage, I just want to extend my gratitude to my co-authors, which are Dr. Paul Cheng, Associate Professor Brendan Callum, Zelen Lee from the University of Melbourne, and Rami Sanad, our former cluster manager for Oceania. And just to give a bit of background, in grazing-based systems, the successful implementation of automatic milking systems heavily relies on the natural behavior of cows and their movement, which we call free cow traffic, for maintaining a cost-effective milk production. So therefore, milking frequency is an important consideration and related system production efficiency. However, integrating automatic milking systems into grazing system presents some unique challenges compared to intensive feeding setups or indoor setups. The main challenge is sometimes cows have to walk considerable distances from the grazing paddocks to reach the milking units, which requires careful planning and strategic solutions, especially at design stage. And one such solution is the adoption of grazing strategies such as ABC grazing system. And I know throughout our conversation we'll explore in depth about this topic, but in short, ABC grazing, basically your farm will be subdivided into about 3 sections, and cows are offered 3 fresh strips of grass each day, and they spend approximately about 8 hours in each block. And 95% of our farmers use ABC grazing system. Why ABC? because it is associated with higher milk output per robot, high diameter intake of pasture, and also benefit for heifers and lower ranked cows, because they can learn and they can choose when it's a bit quieter at the robot. And most importantly, it promotes 3 milkings per day. Why 3 milkings per day? Because studies based on indoor milking system show that when increasing the milking frequency from 2 to 3 times per day, the milk production increased by 3.5 kg per day. Mm-hmm. But we have limited studies in pasture-based systems. So this preliminary study was aimed to, firstly, to identify adequate milking frequency to support optimal milk production, and secondly, to understand the interrelationship between pasture quality, milk production, and milk frequency. Mm-hmm. And in order to investigate this, 2 types of research data were collected. Firstly, average daily number of milkings and the milking production of all lactating cows from 24 commercially grass-based robotic milking systems for 1 year. That data was for 1 year. And secondly, 3-year data of milk production and the milking frequency from Dookie Dairy Farm, which is Melbourne University Research Farm. And this farm has 3 Lely astronaut robots and has a pasture-based 3-way grazing system, which is the ABC grazing system. And after analyzing these 2 sets of data, we found out that the milk production did not increase after milking frequency reached approximately 2.5 times per cow per day. And in simple terms, this indicates that there is limited milk production benefit to milk cows more than 2.5 times per cow per day in pasture-based grazing systems. Mm-hmm. And we also found that some farms were not achieving a desirable milking frequency of 2.5 times per cow per day, which may have limited their milk production. And this, in short, is our research.
Yeah, so I guess the main thing with that is combining robotic milking with grazing, which is very popular in Australia and New Zealand. But we'll start from the very beginning. What kind of setups did you see in... Were you from Holland, John?
Yes.
Yeah, what kind of... Like, was it all barns or a mix between grazing
most
and
of
barns?
it was barns.
Yeah.
Because like in Holland, you only got like 5-6 months of the year because of the weather that cows can go outside.
Yeah.
So a lot of them, they have like partial grazing. Mm-hmm. But to get the most out of the cows, you know, it's easy to have them in the barn.
Yeah.
They walk 10 meters, they get milk. They walk 10 or 15 meters back, they can eat. They walk 5 meters, they can lay down.
Yeah.
In Australia here, they might have to walk a kilometer or a kilometer and a half. Yeah. And that takes a fair bit of energy out of the cow, so that just limits the milk production. And the milking frequency as well, because you don't want to let these cows walk 3 times a kilometer just to get that third milking. Probably you're going to lose it and all the energy they waste to do that.
Yeah. And I guess motivating them to walk is also a big factor with that.
With the ABC grazing, we started with blocks of 8 hours with the same area, and we've been trying that for quite a while, and in the end, you know, we got the time, like they go to A at 12 o'clock at night. We took 12 o'clock at night or 12:30, around about that, to get cows to walk in the middle of the night, because they know they get the fresh grass. Mm-hmm. And then the next bee grazing opens at 9:30. We took 9:30 because that gives us enough time in the morning to feed out before the cows actually go in the paddock. And if you got a real frosty morning, they're not going to walk over frozen grass and it just turns blue and they don't like to eat it anymore. And then in the afternoon at 5:30 they go to sea grazing. Mm-hmm. We started with the same area or the same amount of acres or square meters in each grazing, but we found out that the one from 5:30 in the afternoon to 12 in the middle of the night, they don't eat as much.
Yeah.
They just have a bit of a nibble and they just lay down. So we changed A and B to 40% of the area and only 20% of the area for that 5:30 till 12 o'clock, because they were just not cleaning out the paddock. Mm-hmm. So that's our experience, and it makes them walk, and it works really good for us.
Yeah. Do you have a similar setup, Garry?
Yeah, we're ABC, and we're much like John's to a certain degree, and we started that way right from start.
Yeah.
We went looking for nearly 2 years before we started with the automations, and on the original farm we went and reseeded every paddock on it, all with the same grass, and it was all irrigated. So, and we find now that we can manipulate, well, not manipulate as such, but they might have 10 hours in one block and 6 and 4 or 6 in another block, and it works really well for us. Our pasture residual is basically as good as anybody else grazing. We might only top once a year or something like that, Jack, to get rid of the grass. But we only feed out probably in one block of a day. Yeah. We feed out a bit of waste feed, mixing wagon with carrots and silage or a bit of maize along the fence line or something like that, and the bulk of not the bulk, between 6 and the cows can get, I think the top level's about 10, 11 kilos in the shed down to 2. So it averages about 6 kgs a day. They come home and get in the shed, and that seems to drive them home. So it's a lot of people believe that you can't get good pasture utilisation. I would deny that, right to the back.
Have you heard that as well, John?
Yes. We had like a study group, and they were all just rotary or herringbones, and they were always laughing at us, oh no, you never get it right, and so one day they came over to our farm and they were really surprised, how we had the grazing right. They actually couldn't believe it. It's marvellous what
the animals will do. If you let them do it themselves, probably the biggest thing that I see with ABC is if you try and push your cows to make sure you get them to go to the one block, and not every cow's got to go to a block. You basically, they might see 2 blocks in there 24 hours, not the 3. And if you push them, they're going up there and there's nothing to eat, and that's where you have the problems with loss of weight and a bit of lameness. So you let the cows dictate what they want to do. And it's interesting, John, when you sit and look at them, an hour before the gate change, the last 20 or 30 cows just be milked. They'll only go and stand in the lane, just outside the dairy, outside the gates. And if you walk them away 4 or 5 chain, turn your back, they'll be walking back to you as soon as the gate changes to go to the new grass. So this is how simple they've got it in their mind. Yeah. And I think us as humans want to make that fairly difficult for them sometime with some of the stuff we do to them. But yeah.
I think one of the main things with that is cows are really animals of habit.
Yep.
And if you change these gate times every couple of days,
you're in trouble, aren't you?
Yeah, these cows, they say, well, why the hell am I walking here, So don't change the gate times. Yeah. You really have to have a good think if you want to change it, that there's a good reason to do it. We tried it once, we thought, we have to change this because we have to fix this laneway. So for a day we send them in the other direction. Well, that was the biggest drama ever. First off, they don't want to go there because, listen, this time of the day I walk this way. I don't want to go that way. Yeah. So they walk in, they turn around, and they come back. Yeah. So we said, listen, just put the times in and just stay away from it.
Yeah.
You'd have gates down, Jack, on the way, and they basically run the farm. When they get into their routine, you could have gates down somewhere and they'd walk past it. Yeah, because that's not where they used to go on that given point of time. It's just incredible what they learn.
I think it was it Gennaro who said one of the gates was cut and the cows didn't even.
No, wouldn't
they? Yeah, they didn't even.
Yeah.
So the main thing, don't make it difficult.
Yeah,
just have a look at the cows and see what they do, and they will do most of the stuff for you.
So maybe I've got a question for you, because one of our finding was a number of farmers, they are not achieving these 2.5 milkings per day. So what advice can you give to them, or what other factors which can motivate cows to visit the robots?
Oh, I can tell you that. So we got a paddock, we just split them in half.
Mm-hmm.
Well, every now and then it happens, the reel just snaps and I got
breaks.
the whole paddock. Well,
Yeah.
these cows are definitely not going to come back.
And
They'll stay there.
And it might take 2 days to catch that back up too.
Okay.
If you miss, if something like that goes wrong,
Mm-hmm.
and you miss a couple of 3 hours from where they should be, it might take another day and a half before you get that back round. But
Because the problem, if that happens in A,
Mm-hmm.
they'll stay in A, but it means you only get half the cows in B,
Yeah,
or
mate.
even less than half.
so they got
So
more
they got
feed.
too much as well, so they don't want to come back.
Yeah.
So it just escalates the problem, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Really? That it
So
does.
that takes, as you say, probably 2 days
Yeah.
to get them back in the routine
In the
again.
routine. But you know what we find, Innocent, probably why cows won't walk is weather related and lane related. They're like us. If you walk down a lane and you can feel stones through your boots, and you expect cows to walk down there freely, it's not going to work. So laneways has got a lot to do with it. And when the winter comes, the cold weather or the windy weather, they'll hold up. And I think farmers have got to realise that it is automation, but it's not a dog.
Yeah.
They don't go out and bring the cows in. So if the cows are stuck in a paddock
Yeah.
and got behind a tree on a windy day, you're going to have to go out there and say, come on, you girls, it's time to get out and down the lane. And once you move them, off they'll go. So it's a bit of common sense approach. If I'm in the shed and I look at collect cows, and let's say it's 40 or 50 collect cows, and I'm going home for lunch or dinner, I'll drive through the cow paddock or walk through them on that way home, and that'll get them motivated again. But it's just a bit of common sense approach, knowing what your animals will do.
And that's probably the biggest thing, Before that, in the conventional system, you put them in the paddock and you close the gate. And they just have to wait till you come back and open the gate.
Yeah.
Now these gates are always open, so these cows are going to think by themselves. So as a farmer, you nearly have to turn in a cow psychiatrist, to work out, how their brain's actually working and what they want to do or don't want to do.
You have to change as well.
Yeah,
with
no,
the
we've
system.
got it. And I remember back, Jack, when we started the first one 9 or 10 years ago, and John was down the shed this morning, and on our conventional farm, we never ever locked our cows in, so we had a system where the cows could just trickle home and you can milk, and basically only go out and get the last probably 5%. Because they'd be going a different way. That's how the shed was built. In the morning, we wanted to get a start. We'd taken some cows down the night before, and this tells you how brainy cows are. And it was straight off the exit, off the entry to the shed, and I'm putting the pressure on the technicians to get this thing to work, And so I don't know whether John or Craig said, open the gates. It'll be a while before we're ready, but no cows will come in.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether you remember, John, we turned around and one cow had found herself in and in a box.
Yeah.
On her own. That she did. Come out of the paddock and up into the box on her own. So you can get them to do what you want them to do. But back to your question, Innocent, 2.5, I think if you can average somewhere between 2 to 2.5 and you sit around 2.3, and that doesn't have to be every day. It might be 2.5 through the peak of spring when the grass is really flush and the lanes are in good nick and there's no mud, no wet weather. And then they might drop to 1.9 for a week or two in the middle of winter if you're milking all around, Jack. But you've just got to work out what your cows will do yourself.
Yeah. And the same has got to do with the lactation. The lactation, the end of the lactation, they start to get a bit lazy, and there's no difference between an automated farm or a conventional farm, When they get to the end of the lactation, it takes a long time to get them to the shed.
Yeah,
Simple as that.
And we'll let our late lactation cows, they might drop down to 1.5. So their last 30 or 40 days might average 1.7 milkings. So if you look at that average, and we was talking earlier, to get a 3 milking, you've got to have a 4 milking average probably to get 3 milkings.
Yeah, right.
Or a lot of your cows going through 4 times a day, and that's not possible. That's just not possible to do that. So I know when we started, Lely was sort of thinking you'd need to get 3 milkings a day, but it's not long working out that's not profitable, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
The
Was there like a time where you were aiming for?
Was originally for a couple of months. I think it took.
Yeah.
I reckon it only took me 2 or 3 months to say I'm doing damage to my cows.
Yeah, right.
And we when we had a manager on one farm and was doing the other one, and he was pushing 3, I think he got up to a 40 plus litre average and pushing 3, but you could see the weight just falling off the cows.
Yeah,
he just honestly couldn't get enough food into them.
Yeah.
And they was just doing more work than what it was worth. So you soon learn.
Yeah. And yourself, John, have you ever tried to like push
Oh,
more?
in the beginning, you say, well, we'll see how good we can do it, and
Yeah.
but after a while, we had one cow, we're doing like 45 litres, and she only came in twice a day. I thought, if I can get her to go 3 times a day, I might get 50 litres or more. And I tried anything you can think of to get this cow milked 3 times a day. And in the end you think, well, I must be stupid, If this cow is doing 45 litre happily by herself, why would I just go in there and just give her a kick in the bum and say, well, you have to go again?
Yeah, no, you should.
So you just say, well, this is just how it is,
Yeah.
You should be happy. What you do find, Jack, and I know, like some of our cows, our top cows last season, I think Innocent was 62 litres a day, and I reckon they was only probably 2.5, 2.7.
Yes.
But you'll find the difference between 1.9 to 2.5 could be 3 to 4 litres a day in production. So there is a real profit driver there. If you want to sit around 1.92 litres, you might be doing 3 or 4 litres a cow. You can get them that 2.5, you'll pick that up pretty easy, but you just don't get that lift the next time. There's more of a detriment than what there is a production gain from 2.5 to 3 milking. So
yeah.
And it's like I say to the guys, would you walk 1.5 kilometres, and when you get to the paddock, because she was last, there is nothing there, it's bare.
Yeah.
Then you got to turn around and walk back.
Hell no.
Hell no, of course you don't. And then the shed might kick you out because you're back too early.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you go to another break, so you're just walking for the sake of walking. No, it's not on.
Yeah. And what milkings per day do you guys currently sit at?
I think I'd be down 1.9 to 2.2, so probably averaging a bit above 2, or thereabouts 2, and that'll be driven by frost. If we can get some frosts in a row, you might get 4 or 5 in a row, and your lanes freeze up and they become like walking on a pinboard sometimes, and weather driven. So again, I think we'd be sitting around 2. Middle of spring, we could get to 2.7 back to 2.5 quite easy.
Yeah,
and in that mix, anything that's fresh and heifers, 2-year-olds, they might be sitting around 3.
Yeah,
they will still motivate themselves to walk, don't they, John? They just like young kids. And last year, this is just an interesting thing. Last year or the year before, we had to program our heifers to stop them from coming back to the sheds. They were coming back 4 times a day, so we lengthen their milking frequency out. Yeah. Otherwise, it's just fallen away to a shadow. That food driven in the dairy was just bringing them back all the time. They was back every 3 hours, 3 or 4 hours, and that's. But you've got the flexibility in your sheds to do that. So,
Yeah, we at the moment we're at the end of the lactation, so we're about 2.1. In the spring, when we got the fresh cows, they go up to 2.5, 2.7, something like that. Yeah. But as Gary said, if you got an average of 2.5, you got cows that do 3 milkings a day, and you got cows that do 2 milkings. That's how you get your average of 2.5.
Yeah.
So it's just, I think we're quite happy with it if you get to 2.5, 2.6 in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think over time, with all the information we got out of breeding, and if you want to set some breeding goals, you'll finish up breeding those real energetic type animals that want to consume a lot of food. Yeah. And we've always got to remember it's food driven.
Yeah.
So the animal that's got more constitution, bigger gut to fill, she'll be looking for food if everything else is right. So it will improve over time with your breeding decisions also. So.
Yeah. And what are those breeding decisions?
Oh, there's a lot we're still learning on robots.
How much time we got?
How much time? Yeah, geez, you can go a long way. Like teat length, lot for us.
Placement.
Udder placement, teat length, width of rear teats, temperament.
Yeah,
I find temperament's a real plus.
Yeah, I've heard that from a fair few farmers. As well.
It's a lot easier to break a quiet heifer in than what it is a wild one. So that it is. We find mainly feet and legs, udder capacity, and teat placement would be our major focus at the moment, because they're walking and you need them to cup up straight away. So that you do. Need them in and out quick as possible, don't we, John?
There is one other thing I think, and I'm not sure if that got to do with the breeding or with actual temperature. I've been on a few farms in New South Wales and Queensland, and they always go up to milk speeds of 3.2.
Yeah.
And we just lucky if you get 2.1, 2.2, and I'm not sure if it got to do with the breeding. That means these cows milk a lot quicker than our cows. There is a disadvantage if you've got a real quick milking cow, you got a chance that mastitis will get them easier as well.
Yeah. Why is that?
Because the teats are much more open.
Ready
so
for
bacteria can go in easily. And I think that's ideal with the individual takeoff. You never over milk any quarter, because the quarter's milk flow goes in one quarter, it just takes the cup off.
Yeah. So. And milk speed is it is important because your time in your box, John, isn't it? And I think our best cow was 2.4, or we might average 2.4 or 2.5, but you don't want cows in the box for 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Giving you a handful of litres when the next one can come in and do it in 6 minutes.
Yeah.
So milking speed, and again, you can breed for it. So
I was just going to ask, do you breed for that as well?
Yes, most definitely. And that's one thing going to robots, Jack, we didn't realise when we bought all the cows out of the herringbone, and you've got your couple of milkers there, they're working and they're enjoying a nice leisurely day milk, and you put a slow milker in, and she could be there 25 minutes milk, and they might go out for a cigarette and a bit of a chat, come back later and let her go. And when we took them to the robots and we realised how slow some of the cows are, and I said to Bev, that cow, 25 minutes, that's just cost you $30 to get the milk out of her, just in starve, anything else. So, it gives you all that info, so it is an important thing. And we still got a few slow ones in our herd, I think, that take 3 or 4 times longer than the others, but I think the average is between 6 and 7 minutes of milking, so it's not too bad at present.
Yeah, right.
Well, the other thing is, you can make a decision, because when we were just increasing our herd size, because we were just getting more robots, so everything that produces milk just stays, nothing goes away. But then you get to a point that you only probably got like 8 to 10% free time in the spring. And you think, it's starting to get a bit tight now. But then you can make the decision, well, this cow takes 15 minutes to get milked. If I can get rid of her,
milk another 2.
You get a lot more free time on your robots, and that works really well, because you got the information. You can make an informed decision. So,
yeah. Do you think there's any difference with barn setups and milk frequencies, like the way you approach getting a higher milk frequency?
The higher milk frequency in barns is a lot easier because the cow doesn't have to walk. It walks 10 meters to get milked, walk 10 meters he can eat, and walk another 10 meters he can lay down and chew a cut,
Or have
our cows have to walk like a kilometre or something, or even more, so that is a big difference.
So do barn setups generally have higher milk frequencies?
I'm not sure. Innocent might be able to answer that, but I reckon...
You're the researcher.
Yes. The barn, they average around 3 milkings.
If I had a barn, it'd be a no-brainer for me to have robots, because you've got your cows in a 4-star accommodation, say, 4 or 5-star, and they're just in and out. It's like going to get a beer, Jack. You've only got to walk 6 metres to get one and back. And it's I would imagine it'd be just unbelievable compared to what we do.
Plus, you have to understand as well, in grass-based system, dry matter intake of pasture is closely related with grazing time. So if your cows are spending much time walking, it means they are going to reduce their grazing time, which is going to affect their intake. And it will affect their milk production.
So it's great. I think where we're driven from in Tassie, and when I imagine when John started, when I first started, we are known as a grazing-based system in Australia and New Zealand. So that's been part of the profit drive of our industry for the last 20-odd years, 25 years ago, and so we had to adapt to that. But moving forward with where the milk price is today and where the systems are today, and the droughts and the lack of water and the overrain in some times, the barns are starting to come back in different places. And robots or AMS and barns just go hand in hand in my thoughts of dairy farming. But a lot of places, probably John in Tassie, it doesn't suit robots either on pasture-based, does it? Because the layout of the farm and... You know.
The thing is, if you start going to sheds, you will get an increased cost price because these sheds are not going to be cheap.
Yeah, as in the initial
just to build them and maintain them and stuff like that, you know. There's a lot of extra work that comes with it. It's simple as that.
Yeah.
You know, and I think in transition of cows out of pasture-based, it's great if you've got a flat farm. And we're fortunate we've got flat farms and the dairy's in the centre. So when one cow walks off, the rest can see.
Yeah.
And so one drives the other, basically. If you haven't got that type of a system, you've just got to sort of realise, okay, I might have to go and get them occasionally.
Yeah.
And you, in a normal-based milking system, you're going to get them anyway.
Yeah.
You know, it's no different. You're only doing it twice. You know, on a normal base, you might be doing it twice a day, but could be sitting on a bike for 3 hours a day, 3 to 4 hours a day, bringing cows home. With an automated system, you might do it at lunchtime or you might do it mid-afternoon. You might only have to get a handful, so your time on the bike is totally different. Yep. And I think, John, we could use batch latches in a lot of times. Just get them into the lane and put a batch latch behind them.
Yep.
And they would wander home themselves, especially the evening time if you went and got them in at 4 o'clock. Swept your paddock, moved your fence. Instead of sitting them behind them on the bike, just put a batch latch somewhere down the lane.
Yeah.
They would eventually follow everyone home. And, you know, you've done your job. And you're not sitting there on that motorbike following them home. So latch goes off and it's ready for them to go back to next day.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of things I think you can think of.
And it also means, or what we do is training our heifers before they calve. So they get actually used to the system and know how to get in the shed and out the shed even before they
put
calve.
them in the robots?
Yep.
Yeah, right.
We put the heifers on, we got a program like training heifer.
Yeah.
So they go, they get a little bit of pellets, you know, and they in there for like 3 minutes, the arm will move up and down, so they get used to all the movements and the sounds and stuff like that. So usually when we start drying off our cows, we bring the heifers in for training. So they just walk with the cows, so they get to know around. The thing is, if you don't do that, these heifers, you push them in the first time to get milked, but they don't know how to get out.
Yeah.
You know, and while you're training and you're there, you just push them out and things like that.
Yeah.
But in 2 or 3 days' time, they come in the middle of the night and say, well, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
So they're sitting there on concrete for the time you get there and think, she's been here for a while.
Yeah.
Come on, get out.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important to train them before they actually calve. Because as soon as the only new thing after calf is just put the cups on and they know to get out, you know. And we usually bring in groups of 20 or 30 at a time, you know, so you don't get a huge amount in one go. Just have them there for about a week. Usually the first 2 or 3 days you say, well, come on, you have to get in. But pretty soon they'll figure it out. And because you've got a few cows dried off, you've got plenty of free time on the roble, so they're not fighting with all the cows to get in there. And within a week, you know, you might still have 1 or 2 that you say, well, come on, it's time to go. But as soon as they know how to get around, you just take them out and bring the next group in.
Yeah.
Well, that's how we do it, and that works really well, because then when they calve, you know, they know the system, they know how to get out, and they'll go in the paddock.
Yeah.
It is interesting, Jack, and because we bring them home into a calving barn and they're just quieting down because you're there with them. And automated cows, robot cows, are so quiet, it's unbelievable. Like they are not frightened of humans, unless they're an absolute idiot that's been genetically bred into them, which we still have. Yeah. But with the Texas gates, it's, you know, when we first started, I reckon we had the Texas gates tied back for nearly 9 months to get the cows used to pushing the gate, because if you had them in a conventional farm, if they pushed against the gate and broke it open, you'd be chasing them around on a motorbike. Now here we are, we just changed the whole psychology of a cow. We want you to push against the gate to get out. Yeah. And they will stand there, won't they, John? Like John was saying, they'll lay in the shed and they have no idea how to get out. Yeah. And there's this silly little thing sitting in front
of them. So what do you do to help them realise?
Well, I tie it open, but we basically pre-train too. But anybody that's coming down, you know, we've spoken to a lot of people that want to put robots in. And I always tell them, make a real point of it. If you're going to put them in, you're starting up in 12 months or 2 years, put some Texas gates in your conventional shed now, in your raceway, and they'll learn that. It'll take them a few months, and that is the most frustrating thing, because you're standing there as a human saying, why won't you put through? Just go.
Just go.
And you've got to hold the front gate open, you've got to get behind them and just get out of here, and they won't, So you can do a lot of that sort of stuff before you start up and train your heifers, your quiet heifers. We have no real issue breaking heifers in us, so we run them in the calving barn right next to the shed, and occasionally they'll come through the shed. Once they know there's food there, within 2 days they're basically broken in and settled down. And I suppose, and John would probably say the same, we've never broken anything in our 9 or 10 years, whatever it is, through animals kicking at the robots. Have not broke a component, so we've been
It's amazing what that arm can handle. And I think the best thing of a robot is the robot never gets angry.
No, he turns up to work.
If you got kicked a few times in a conventional shed, he's going to be on.
Some of the noise that comes out of the robots when the cows are kicking them, it's not real healthy, I tell you. Your arm would be in pretty ordinary shape. No, it would be. But no, we've never broken anything, and they do turn up, and they're never angry. That John is quite true. No, it's great.
Yeah, no, that's good. Your herds seem very calm. And as we were saying, that temperament definitely does impact, milking frequencies and keeping it in that 2.5 range.
And that sort of would help your milking frequency when heifers know. Like if I walked into the shed at 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 11 or 12 in the morning and saw 5 or 10 cows there, I know the system's working really, really well. So if heifers and younger cows know that when they come back to the shed, they're not going to get bullied, and they're not going to have to stand there for any longer than 30 or 40 minutes. And they can get through, get their feed, and get back out. That's what drives them through. But you'll find if you collect a lot of cows and your heifers get pushed to the back, they will stay at the back unless you can get them up and get them through. John, they just get held back, and that's what they get used to, and it's not good.
They're a lot smarter than you think. Like the first shed we had, the cows, when they come down the laneway, they could actually look into the shed and see how many cows were there. They see a lot of cows there. They just stop on the lane and they wait till these cows are gone, and then they'll just come in the shed. So they're a lot smarter than you think, actually.
So your quietness, your temperament, that all helps that movement of cows through your shed, in and out, because they want to be able to come. If you have a cow that comes to a box and she might fail 3 or 4 times in a row, and she gets put out and you haven't fixed the problem, they won't walk back into that box. So they know that box is not doing what it's supposed to do, and they'll just stand, in the pre-milk area and not go in. And so they are so smart. As I said, I think we just make it difficult sometimes.
There have been talks about batch milking in automatic systems. What are your thoughts about that?
Batch milking, I still think it's, if you want to use the robots as Optima as we do, you have to go out in the middle of the night to get the next batch of cows. So is that really what you want to do? That's the big question. And otherwise you have to put in that many robots that you can do it in so many hours. But like now, we use robots every now and then, go back to like 12-13% of free time. But if you have to put that many robots in that you do batch milking during the daytime, you probably end up with nearly 40-50% free time, because they're not doing anything, because you don't want to go and get cows in the middle of the night.
You do not.
So well, if you want to do it and happy to do that, well, go for it, but I think you make it really hard for yourself.
We are probably batch milking, because I've got 7 boxes and we're only working 50% of the time. So you can find yourself get into the habit of batch milking, and the cows get into that habit also. If we was to upgrade from A4s to A5s, we wouldn't be putting 7 back in. We'd only be going 4 or 5 boxes. We understand that labour's hard to get, and if people can afford to go that way and batch milk, I don't see an issue with it. But you've got to realise it's probably not what it was intended to do. And the return on that investment mightn't be as high for sure, but it definitely will work. We can put with 7 boxes, you can bring 80 or 90 cows in, and it's not very long and they're milked. But it's not the ideal system, because the cows will get used to coming back home in the old style, back home as a group again. And I wouldn't recommend it as your first reason for putting them in anyway. I'd still recommend you try and get that voluntary flow, and get the value out of, that real value of that nighttime milking out of it.
Yep. Okay, cool. I think we've pretty much covered everything. Innocent, did you have like another summary or conclusion for your research that you wanted to give?
No, not at this stage, Jax. Thank you very much.
All good. We've got a couple off-topic questions now. This one might start a war, but what footy team do you guys follow?
John's from Holland. He doesn't have a footy team.
You don't watch footy?
No. I watch it every now and then. But
He's probably still saying, "What the hell are they doing, Jack?" You want me to really tell you who I follow? No, it's not Carlton either, because they're not going too well at the moment.
Yeah.
We're Saints supporters in here. It's one you don't see it. The clock's up there.
A Saint clock on the wall.
We're Saints supporters and always have been.
Yeah.
But also heavily involved in our footy here on the coast. Actually, I am chairman of our league here on the northwest coast, so I still do a long-term footballer, as my wife keeps telling me, and can't get it out of my system. So.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'm not responsible for the Facebook comments you get
after
this job.
Well, I don't know whether I'll see St Kilda win a grand final. I'm still hoping.
Another one was, if you guys were in charge of the Lely innovation team, what product would you invent? If you had like an unlimited budget, what would you make?
I think that's one of the biggest problems,
Yeah.
But when I started milking as a little boy, my dad had a dairy farm as well, my grandfather said, "Listen, if you want to milk cows, here is your stool and a bucket. You start milking, and you come back with this bucket. I have to put that much foam on it, otherwise you haven't done it right." But if you look at it, how much is changed in probably like 50 years or 55 years, then you think, well, in the next 50 years, what the hell can you change after this,
Yeah.
It's really difficult. It might be just little things, like in the software, things and reports get better and things like that. But, like, I can't really think of anything that said, gee, this is...
Yeah.
Whatever. The only thing, probably like virtual fencing might make things easier or things like that. But like the milking system is working really good, I think. But what do you think, Garry? You can think of something?
No, look, I think the milking system is unbelievably good at present to what we have got. And we was talking, you started with the bucket, the walk-through, the herringbone, the rotary, and now automation. Evolution's unbelievable. I don't think we could ever get away, Jack, from not having human intervention with dairying, because I reckon if we ever get to that stage, we probably have gone the wrong way or gone too far. If we had something that, I often thought if I could get a drone and just fly up and come and get the cows in, would be unbelievable. It just comes out of a box with a program, a Lely drone. We was quite keen on virtual fencing there for a while, but you've sort of the animal welfare stuff and all this sort of stuff will tell us what we can and can't do. So I would probably look at a drone.
Write that down.
Yeah, a drone, because we need our farmers of the future to we are pasture based in Tassie. So if you don't go to the paddock, you never know what's going on.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you're not following your cows home, you really don't know what's going on either. So something like that. John, we could do with the drenching system in the box, or something that'll give them the 7-in-1 injection, Jack.
Yeah.
Or dry cow. How's that sound? That would be a good idea. Do you want to put the stuff up in the teats for us at the end of the year? The dry cow. We'll see how good you are, see what you can invent.
Yeah.
My wife's just walked in. What have you got, darling?
I was going to say, why don't you go to the whole hog? We've had people ask us before if a cow comes up with mastitis, does the box treat it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Does the box treat it?
Yeah.
And I thought, come on.
So
maybe a couple of years.
Yeah, I reckon. So I think we've...
Even that, if you start giving needles in the box,
you're in trouble.
Cow said, well, I'm not going to go in this box again. You're going to get a needle. I'll just stay away from that.
I'm not going to that doctor.
You're just not having contact with your cows, so you can't see what's going on. you're not going to pick up health issues if you're not there actually seeing the cows.
Yeah.
And I think we've got to remember the cows are the thing that's making us money.
Yeah.
Yes.
They are the things that make us money, and if we lose sight of that, well, you know, I think we're going to go backwards. So
Yeah.
But you know, if you think about, I mean, Lely sells these machines. They want to have a happy farmer. How do you get a happy farmer if that farmer got happy cows?
yeah, true,
It's
true.
simple
John.
as that. It just
Yeah,
comes
it is.
back down to the cows.
Yes.
If you get on the farm and your cows are not happy and carrying on, you say, well, bugger this.
Yeah.
Something is not right.
There's
Good
no
point.
milk, no money.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know, I'd be very, very careful how far we do go.
Mm-hmm.
I would do.
A bit like happy wife, happy life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Happy cows.
Happy cows, happy farm.
Yeah.
Happy cows, happy farmer, happy wife. That's what it is, Joe.
What about in the future if we don't even we start like artificially making milk? You know.
No, that'll never happen,
Is that
Jack.
gonna happen?
No, Jack. Don't ever think of that.
That'd be scary. Yeah.
I won't have
totally.
wheat bix anymore if I haven't got cow's milk.
Really funny. I was in Echuca a couple of years ago. Wanted to get a cappuccino. What milk do you want? Almond milk or oat milk?
Soy.
Is it? No, I want normal milk.
Yeah.
No, we don't have that.
Really? Oh.
I'm not going to buy a coffee here. So where is the next one like? Well, why not? So listen, I'm a dairy farmer. I want normal milk in my coffee.
Probably,
Yeah, it's getting more popular.
yeah.
Now. Yeah.
probably something I think that I know that I miss personally, or not miss but can't handle, is analysing all the data, Jack.
Yeah.
And that's one from left field. I reckon I keep telling Innocent that we've got all that info in front of us.
Yeah.
And I just, you know, I think we're probably only using 10% of that, really.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
not using enough of that to make some good decisions at some stage. So to me, it'll be education of the new guys that are coming into the industry to make sure that they stay with AMS and don't say, well, this hasn't worked.
Yeah.
Because
And I think at the moment it's really good, you know, with the apps on your phone. But I'm like the old fashioned. I get a little notebook and walk back to the computer. And my son says, oh, what are you doing? Just go on your phone.
don't build any more apps. We want
But-
less.
Noted.
But I mean, the biggest thing with that is probably how the phone reception is.
Yep.
We just changed over to Starlink and it made it a lot better.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're on your phone and just going, come on, come on.
up.
So well,
The
I
cows-
just better walk
Yeah.
to the office and just bang it in straight away, you know.
Yeah.
And that's probably a thing you'd need to let people know that a lot of it out of the sky is a bit of an issue in certain areas, and you don't get the service from the system that you probably, you thought you was going to get.
Yeah.
Which does get annoying, doesn't it, John, after a while?
Lely Wi-Fi modems.
Yes. Only for us old blokes. I think if we threw the mobile phones away, we'd be better.
Yeah.
You can't use them either.
Yeah. And last question. What's your fondest memory in dairy farming?
Oh, gee. So I reckon be like John starting off with a handful of cows. Probably the first time we ever milked cows.
Yeah.
And we've kept diaries for all our years, and I can remember getting a milk check for $280 and probably bought more out of that milk check for $280 what you do out of a $300,000 milk check. That it would be. But no, I reckon probably starting up the boxes was a highlight, I reckon. Wasn't it? Yeah, what else? My wife's sitting over here. She'll come back, John. In a minute. She'll think. She's probably starting getting out of dairying, I reckon. It's got to be something to
That's the next one.
do.
No, I'd say it's having some of the kids come.
Oh, yes, gee.
We've just had some absolute glorious times with school kids coming. I mean, our
Do you want to come around to the mic?
Yeah,
By the way?
sure.
Come on.
Yeah, come around.
I forgot about that because we've done that for a couple of 3 years.
Special guest.
our eldest granddaughter, when she was probably in
Grade 3.
I was going to say 2 or 3, she brought her whole school class up from Burnie, and we weren't doing AMS at the time. We were up at the conventional farm, and we got the kids up there, and they just had such a great time. It was actually calving, so we took them down to the paddock. Gary actually showed them after birth on the ground, and they had a big discussion about that.
Laid down on the paddock and watched the cow calve.
They just talked about it for just ages and ages afterwards. And then we've had we had another group that actually came to the AMS, and there was a little boy there who was lactose intolerant. So he was told he had to stay away from the cows. And we had a particular old cow that was so quiet, you could have done anything with her. We brought her in, and all the kids got up there and had a squeeze of the teats to see if they could get him. And this little boy was just watching him, and he waited for the teacher to have his back turned, and he raced up and he's grabbing over him. He had to be in it, even though he was told he wasn't allowed to. He had to get in and have a go. Just the looks on those kids' faces, and that was when we got asked from a teacher if we actually pumped down milk to the factory.
And that's Guns Plains to Burnie, which is nearly 35 kilometres away, Jack. How do you
get... You're a teacher, come on. I mean, I think you're supposed to be teaching these kids what's what. But we've had a few hairy questions. Little ones asking us how calves come out and how do you tell the difference between boys and girl calves. And and I just looked at when I thought, well, how far do you go when you're teaching some of these kids? And I don't know what the heck. So I had a little calf there at the time. Pulled its tail up and I said, it's the same as boys and girls. I said, if it's got this, it's...
But that's one thing with AMS, if you've got a nice setup, like the school kids are just bewildered. They are bewildered with it.
So many of our farmers have kids come through and they love it so much.
Not only the young ones. We've had veterans come, we've had aged care, and they're the ones. Gary's mum, she was unbelievable. She said, I've been through the lot, she said, from the hand milking to this, to this, to this, to this, and now look at what they're doing. And she just loved bringing her friends of that age to have a look at how far it had advanced from where they'd all come from. And to see that... We've got old dairy farmers come in and say, oh, geez, if I'd known it was going to be like this, I could have stayed in. This sort of stuff.
That's sweet.
It's other people's reaction.
The funny thing is these old people, we was on another farm when they started up, and the mother or whatever it was came there, and she was probably in an elderly home. Put her in a chair there. She said, I can sit here the whole day.
Yeah, all day.
I can sit here the whole day.
They are actually mesmerising. You could sit there. It's just so amazing how the cow just stands there and lets all this happen, and they don't move. They just accept the whole thing, and it's absolutely mesmerising. Well, we've been in it for so long, but you can still sit there for hours and watch.
It's a good excuse not to go to work.
Totally.
So a lot of memorables. John, over to you. I've taken up this.
Sorry, I have.
No, don't be sorry.
Oh, what I think was a highlight for us, because Jürgen came with these big plans, how to do it and things like that, and we had just an old hay barn. And I've been sitting at home and think, because I know rebels can milk cows, there's no doubt about that, they've done it for years, but how do you get them to walk in and out and stuff like that? And I had a piece of paper and just, go there, no, next one. I went to, God knows, hundreds pieces of paper, and yes, now this is going to work, And I put it in, and then Jan came over for the installation, because I was the first one, there was no one else that could help, so Jan came over for the installation, and he said, John, what have you done? I said, what do you mean? Well, Jürgen gave me this, it's supposed to be like, I said, listen, this shit is only this big. We have to do it like this. He said, I don't know. I have to ring Jürgen. I said, well, you ring Jürgen. I said, but it's not going to change, the concrete is there, whatever you want, so. We put them in, and I think Bill and Jan, they've been just watching us like hawks every morning on the computer. Just working. Because every now you can see TeamViewer coming. Someone is watching again. 3 months later, Jürgen and Jan came over with a measuring tape. Started measuring how we done it. I said to Jürgen, I reckon I got a patent on this, Should
have done, John. You should have done.
But I don't know.
I guess the other highlight for us was the actual startup, as you said. So we're starting down here, we're milking up at south in the conventional. And I'm up there milking, Gary's and our daughter are down here getting this started up. And I'm thinking, right, I've finished up there, I'll come down and just see how they're going. And I'm thinking, there's going to be frayed tempers, there's going to be this, because, you've heard stories about startup and all this other.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, oh my God, it's just going to be a nightmare when I get down there. What did I walk into? 3 chairs sitting there.
Yeah.
The guys sitting in the chairs, sipping on whiskey. It's just coming and going, doing their thing.
The celebration was good operators back then, Jack.
It was just too simple, I guess.
It was, yeah. No, I think we were blessed. We were probably,
We were.
as I said, John was on board there, and actually John picked up something. It was a long weekend when we started. And John left to go to Hobart, and I still remember quite clearly for a weekend down there with his wife, and on the way home from Hobart called back in on his way, and he walked into the shed and he could smell something.
Yeah.
And we'd overfed the cows, not knowing the setting hadn't been set right on the grain drop.
Oh, right.
So if John hadn't come back in, our startup might have been so nice and cruisy.
Yeah.
So that saved us a heap of cows. And
As I said, something is not right here.
Yeah.
We have to change something.
something was wrong, and we was killing them with kindness.
Yeah.
So we had a
Instead
perfect.
of getting 6 kilos a day, they were getting 6 kilos of feed, or
Whatever
it was ridiculous, whatever it was.
So it was a learning process, and Jack, it probably an Innocent. It's come a long way in my time.
Yeah.
When John started, and you can remember, you get your technician there.
Yep.
And we should have been better off ringing John to find out what was going on. But it's been a learning process, hasn't it, John? And,
Yep.
and I'd say that DMI's probably come a long way also with us.
Yeah, and I just helped Craig. Of course, my son took over the farm now, so I can get away a bit easier, and with startups. But some farmers, they just love just going on the computer and changing things. But you have to get the basics right,
Yep.
You have to learn to walk before you can run.
Yep.
So just when you start up, just keep it simple, just get the basics right so the cows know what they're doing. And then every farm is different and every farmer is different, so they want different things. And then you can start changing things. But when you change something here in the system, it affects other things as well. And a lot of time, they think, oh yeah, I'll fix this. But you create something else.
Yeah.
So you have to be very careful with what you do. If you think it doesn't go right for a bit, you got 5 things you want to change. Just change one thing at a time and wait for 4 or 5 days and see if it makes a difference. If it doesn't make a difference, that was not what was
Not
wrong.
the problem.
And it's sometimes it's really frustrating, but just take your time and just work down the line and say, well, this is the most obvious thing I can think of. We'll change this. Doesn't work. Get the next one. Get the next
It's
one.
trial and error.
Yeah. You probably don't set the expectations too high.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the best bit of advice I could always say. Yeah, listen to what people say and then come back off 10 or 20%, and then rebuild. Learn the way through, learn the system, and then build it to suit them. But it definitely works.
Yeah, nice. All right, guys, thank you so much. Thanks, Innocent, John, Garry, and special guest, Bev. Yeah, I really appreciate your time, and thanks for having us, Garry, here. Thank you guys for listening to the second episode of the Dairy Experience. And we'll see you next time.